So a lot of people have asked me to predict the playoffs this year, and at first I wasn't going to, but it was an overwhelming amount of people that really wanted me to, so here we are. Also, I want to give a big shout out to Aki. He's one of my subscribers. He's been here for a long time, and he asked me to do this first, and I was like, you know what, I might as well do it. I wanted to wait for the play-in matches last night, and that basically gave me all the information I needed to know. I don't really care who gets the 8th seed. It's not going to really affect my predictions as much. So let's get started off in the West. In our first matchup, we have the Nuggets versus either the Timberwolves, the Thunder, or the Pelicans. Quite frankly, I think the Timberwolves are going to win that matchup, but no matter who they play, I got Nuggets in 5. I don't see a situation where Denver loses first round, especially to an 8th seed, and I just feel like they're better than every single one of those teams. I know some people don't think Denver's going to go all the way, but Denver is still a really good team. And at the end of the day, I think the Nuggets, they've been waiting for a while for this opportunity, and they're going to take advantage of it. Next up, we got the Suns and the Clippers. A lot of people believe this is going to be a very close matchup, but I don't think it's going to be. And to be honest, I got Suns in 5. While I think the Clippers are a good team, the fact of the matter is that they're going to need Paul George to win this series. And I don't think they can only win it with just Kawhi at the forefront. They need more. Not to mention having Kevin Durant and Booker and Ayton and Paul, that is going to be so overwhelming for them. And plus, I think the Suns rotation is really going to step up. And while I think the Clippers have a good bench, I don't think it's going to be enough to stop the Suns. The Suns have a lot of momentum, and sure, the Clippers have some, but not as good as Phoenix, and I think Phoenix is just by far the better team. A report did come out that Paul George was going to miss a majority of the first round, and to be honest, I really don't see him coming back, especially if Phoenix is up like 3-1. If Paul George was healthy and playing this, however, I would have the Suns in 6 or 7. I think that would be a great series, but it's unfortunate. The Clippers are probably not going to have Paul George, and therefore I think the Suns absolutely dominate. To follow that up, we have Kings and Warriors, and I'm not going to lie, the Kings are getting disrespected like crazy. A majority of the people think the Warriors are going to win, and to be honest, I understand it. The Warriors are a championship level team, well, not this year, but they have been in the past. And the Kings, they're this new team. They're young as hell, and they're making the playoffs, and they're already playing the Warriors. A lot of people have the Warriors absolutely dominating the Kings, but in my personal opinion, I see the Kings winning in 6. The Kings are a good team, and they have arguably the best offense in the NBA. And I know they have struggles on defense, and I recognize that. And while I think it will hurt them down the run, I just don't think it's going to affect them much in the first round. In fact, my biggest concern is, can the Warriors win on the road? Because if they can't, I promise you this series will be over faster than you think. In the final matchup of the first round in the West, we have the Grizzlies and the Lakers. Right now, it seems like the Lakers are the favorites, and I'm not going to lie, this is egregious to me. The Lakers have been impressive to end off the year, but I'm sorry, they are not better than Memphis in any way, shape, or form. Last night in the play-in game, there was a real opportunity that the Lakers could have lost to a depleted Minnesota team. And of course, the Lakers played better in the end, but playing a team like Memphis that I think is by far better, they're not going to do well. Like, I know the Lakers are hot right now, and it's cool to see if you're a Lakers fan, but with all due respect, I got Memphis in 5. We go into the Eastern Conference, and this is where things get very interesting. Our first matchup is going to be the Bucks versus either the Raptors, the Bulls, and the Heat. Just like the West, I don't think this will play any factor, and I got Bucks in 4. Just like that Denver series, I just don't think it's going to really play much of a factor who they play, and I think Milwaukee is by far the better team. Our next matchup is the Cavs and Knicks, and I got the Cavs in 5. The Knicks are a fun team to watch, but I don't think they can at all compete with the Cavs. I think guys like Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, they're going to be scary, and Evan Mobley, well, his defense is going to be too much for Julius Randle. Sure, the Knicks are a cool regular season team, but I don't see any situation where they can actually win in the playoffs. Next up, we have the Sixers and the Nets, and while I think the Nets are going to be a fun team to watch, I have the Sixers in 6. Now you might think, whoa, 6 is kind of close, and it kind of is, to be honest with you. I think Brooklyn is going to scare Philadelphia. I think they're going to win a couple games and in fact go up 2-1, but then I think the 76ers are going to lock in and they're going to realize, okay, we got to take this team serious. In the final matchup of the first round, we have the Boston Celtics and the Atlanta Hawks, and there's not much I'm going to say. It's just Boston in 4. The Hawks, I don't know how they beat the Heat last night. Like, if you saw that game last night, there wasn't really a moment where it was close. It seemed like the Hawks were in control for a majority of the game. But regardless, let's move on to the second round. We got the Denver Nuggets going up against the Phoenix Suns. I am probably going to get some shit for this, but I'm going Suns in 6. Earlier in the video, I talked about the Sacramento Kings and their defense and how they might win a first round matchup, but down the road, it's going to affect them. And I feel like this goes for Denver as well. I don't care what the stats tell you. Denver's defense is not impressive, especially in the playoffs. And if you've watched Denver in the past couple years in the playoffs, you notice that the mid-range game is wide open. Jokic is not a good defender in these situations, and I remember the last time they played. The last time Denver and Phoenix played, I know the Nuggets didn't have Jamal Murray, but Chris Paul was exposing the mid-range. I think out of all this series, series, Chris Paul is gonna look like, oh, he's back because he's gonna average like 20 and 10. But in reality, it's just Phoenix taking advantage of the mid-range. Phoenix is arguably one of the most deadliest mid-range teams in the game, and I think this series is only going to prove it. And you might say, okay, but the Nuggets have a way better offense. How is Phoenix going to stop it? Honestly, I think Phoenix is going to be able to contain it fine. I think Jokic, he's not going to perform well. I think other guys are going to step up for them like Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, but I'm not worried about the rest of the team. Quite frankly, I think this series is going to get bad pretty fast, but who knows? There's a chance that Denver just absolutely destroys Phoenix and this looks very bad. But I will take my chances with a team that can actually play defense versus a team that cannot. It's Suns in 6. The Kings and the Grizzlies, while I'll be going for the Kings, I got the Memphis Grizzlies winning in 6. I think the Grizzlies are by far a better team, and that defense thing I told you about, yeah, that's going to come into play. The Grizzlies are a more experienced team, and the Kings, they don't have that much experience, and I just don't think there's a situation where they can beat Memphis. Of course, it would be fun to root for them, and I would love to see it, but Memphis is by far the superior team. And just like that, we got the Suns and Grizzlies in the Western Conference Finals. I'm not gonna lie, I think this is a very impressive matchup that everyone is gonna want to see, but let's move on to the Eastern Conference. To start things off, we have the Bucks and the Cavs, and I have the Bucks in 7. I think this series is gonna go down to the wire. I think the Bucks are gonna almost lose, but in the end, I think it's gonna be the Bucks championship DNA that really shows why they're the best team in the Eastern Conference. And to follow that up, we have the Sixers and Boston, and again, I think this series is going to 7. This is gonna be a great series, but ultimately, I gotta go Boston in 7. But let me say this, and I'm predicting this right now. This series right here is going to be the most watched of the entire playoffs. This is going to be a great series, and I'm not gonna lie, I cannot wait to see this play out. And finally, we are in the conference finals. Obviously, starting with the Western Conference Finals, we got the Phoenix Suns and the Memphis Grizzlies. While this will be a good series, and I think Memphis is gonna put up a fight, I gotta go Suns in 6. I don't think there's gonna be any player on the Grizzlies that can stop Kevin Durant nor Devin Booker. Sure, the Grizzlies have some guys they could throw at them, but I just don't think it's gonna play much of a factor. I do think, however, that DeAndre Ayton will basically get taken out the series because of Jaren Jackson Jr. But for the rest of the Suns team, I think they're gonna be just fine. And overall, I see the Phoenix Suns making it to the NBA Finals. I think Devin Booker is gonna have arguably his best playoff series ever, and he's gonna show people why he's a special player. I think in Game 6, he's gonna have like 40, and the whole Suns team is gonna be on fire because of him. And finally, we have the Eastern Conference Finals. We have the Bucks and the Celtics, and god damn it, this is gonna be a great series. I've been sitting at my computer thinking for the past 10 minutes on who I think is gonna win, and honestly, I gotta go Bucks in 6. The Bucks, like I said earlier, have that championship DNA, and they have that guy named Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't know if you've heard of him. Nah, but seriously, I just think the Bucks are by far the better team, and stats could honestly prove my point. Also do believe that in some late game situations, Jason Tatum is gonna have the opportunity to show up, but ultimately he will not. And it is for that reason why I have the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Finals. A 2021 NBA Finals rematch that I think a lot of people actually want to see. While I think this is going to be a great matchup and arguably one of the best NBA Finals we've seen in recent history, you gotta give me Bucks in 7. If the Suns were playing literally any other team in the Eastern Conference down from 1 through 8, I would go Suns in 6. But I'm sorry, I think the Bucks are the one team that could actually beat the Phoenix Suns. I see Giannis being a player that the Suns will not be able to stop. I see Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday having a couple games where they just go off, and ultimately it's going to be too much. If the Suns get in a situation where Chris Middleton starts to go off and Jrue Holiday plays as well as I know he can, then it's going to be over fast. However, if Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday are kind of on lock, Giannis could average 50 and I would take Phoenix. However, at the end of the day, I don't see that happening, and I see everyone on the Bucks stepping up. Giannis is going to win the finals for the second time in his career. He's going to have a second finals MVP, and ultimately we're going to be giving this man his damn respect. And while people are going to be looking at Phoenix another way, I think they're going to take the rest of this offseason to recover and come back next year. But ultimately, the Bucks are going to have the better ending. But that's just what I think. I want to know in the comment section below, who did you guys pick to win the NBA Finals? I'm very interested to see who you guys are going to pick, so just let me know in the comment section below. Also, to make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, I'd very much appreciate it. I'm going to be making a bunch of content towards the entire NBA playoffs, so y'all better be ready. I got a lot of stuff in my arsenal.